V.I. Lenin letter to the Secretary of the Socialist Propaganda League published, first published in 1924 in Lenin Miscellany 2. Written in English before November 9, 1915. Published according to the manuscript. Source: Lenin Collected Works, Progress Publishers, Moscow, Volume 21, pages 423 to 428. Translated, transcription / markup, D. Walters and R. Symbol. Public domain, Lenin Internet Archive 2003. You may freely copy, distribute, display and perform this work, as well as make derivative and commercial works. Please credit Marxist's Internet Archive as your source. Dear comrades, we are extremely glad to get your leaflet. Your appeal to the members of the Socialist Party to struggle for a new international, for clear-cut revolutionary socialism as taught by Marx and Engels, and against the opportunism, especially against those who are in favor of working-class participation in a war of defense, corresponds fully with the position our party, Social Democratic Labor Party of Russia, Central Committee, has taken from the beginning of this war and has always taken during more than 10 years. We send you our sincerest greetings and best wishes of success in our fight for true internationalism. In our press and in our propaganda we differ from your program in several points, and we think it is quite necessary that we expose you briefly these points in order to make immediate and serious steps for the coordination of the international strife of the uncompromisingly revolutionary socialists, especially Marxists in all countries. We criticize in the most severe manner the old, Second International. We declare it dead and not worth to be restored on old basis. But we never say in our press that too great emphasis has been heretofore placed upon so-called immediate demands, and that thereby the socialism can be diluted. We say and we prove that all bourgeois parties, all parties except the working-class Revolutionary Party, are liars and hypocrites when they speak about reforms. We try to help the working class to get the smallest possible but real improvement, economic and political, in their situation, and we add always that no reform can be durable, sincere, serious if not seconded by revolutionary methods of struggle of the masses. We preach always that a socialist party not uniting the struggle for reforms with the revolutionary methods of working class movement can become a sect, can be severed from the masses, and that is the most pernicious menace to the success of the clear-cut revolutionary socialism. We defend always in our press the democracy in the party. But we never speak against the centralization of the party. We are for the democratic centralism. We say that the centralization of the German labor movement is not a feeble but a strong and good feature of it. The vice of the present Social Democratic Party of Germany consists not in the centralization but in the preponderance of the opportunists, which should be excluded from the party, especially now after their treacherous conduct in the war. If in any given crisis the small group, for instance our Central Committee is a small group, can act for directing the mighty mass in a revolutionary direction, it would be very good. And in all crises the masses cannot act immediately, the masses want to be helped by the small groups of the central institutions of the parties. Our Central Committee quite at the beginning of this war, in September 1914, has directed the masses not to accept the lie about the war of defense and to break off with the opportunists and the would-be socialists jingoes, we call so the socialists who are now in favor of the war of defense. We think that this centralistic measure of our Central Committee was useful and necessary. We agree with you that we must be against craft unionism and in favor of industrial unionism, i.e. of big, centralized trade unions, and in favor of the most active participation of all members of party in all economic struggles and in all trade union and cooperative organizations of the working class. But we consider that such people as Mr. Lenin in Germany and Mr. Gompers in the U.S. are bourgeois, and that their policy is not a socialist but a nationalistic, middle-class policy. Mr. Lenin, Mr. Gompers and similar persons are not the representatives of working class, they represent the aristocracy and bureaucracy of the working class. We entirely sympathize with you when in political action you claim the mass action of the workers. The German revolutionary and internationalist socialists claim it also. In our press we try to define with more details what must be understood by political mass action, as political strikes, very usual in Russia, street demonstrations and civil war prepared by the present imperialist war between nations. We do not preach unity in the present, prevailing in the Second International, Socialist parties. On the contrary, we preach secession with the opportunists. The war is the best object lesson. In all countries the opportunists, their leaders, their most influential dailies and reviews are for the war. In other words, they have in reality united with their national bourgeoisie, middle class, capitalists, against the proletarian masses. You say that in America there are also socialists who have expressed themselves in favor of the participation in a war of defense. We are convinced that unity with such men is an evil. Such unity is unity with the national middle class and capitalists, and a division with the international revolutionary working class. And we are for secession with nationalistic opportunists and unity with international revolutionary Marxists and working class parties. We never object in our press to the unity of SP and SLP in America. We always quote letters from Marx and Engels, especially to Sorge, active member of American Socialist movement, where both condemn the sectarian character of the SLP. We fully agree with you in your criticism of the old International. We have participated in the Conference of Zimmerwald, Switzerland, 5–8–9, 1915. We have formed there a left wing, and have proposed our resolution and our draft of a manifesto. We have just published these documents in German and I send them to you, with the German translation of our small book about socialism and war, hoping that in your league there are probably comrades that know German. If you could help us to publish these things in English, it is possible only in America, and later on we should send it to England, we would gladly accept your help. In our struggle for true internationalism and against jingo socialism, we always quote in our press the example of the opportunist leaders of the SP in America, who are in favor of restrictions of the immigration of Chinese and Japanese workers, especially after the Congress of Stuttgart, 1907, and against the decisions of Stuttgart. We think that one cannot be internationalist and be at the same time in favor of such restrictions. And we assert that socialists in America, especially English socialists, belonging to the ruling and oppressing nation, who are not against any restrictions of immigration, against the possession of colonies, Hawaii, and for the entire freedom of colonies, that such socialists are in reality jingos. For conclusion, I repeat once more best greetings and wishes for your league. We should be very glad to have a further information from you and to unite our struggle against opportunism and for the true internationalism. Yours and Lenin NB. There are 2 soc.dem. Parties in Russia. Our party, Central Committee, is against opportunism. The other party, Organization Committee, is opportunist. We are against the unity with them. You can write to our official address, Bibliothek for the C. K. 7 Rue Hugo de Sanger, 7. Genève, Switzerland. But better write to my personal address, W.L. Ulano, C.I. Nweg 4A, 3 Bern, Switzerland. Notes: this letter was written by Lenin in English. Ed. The letter is a reply to the League's leaflet received by Lenin in November 1915. The letter is published in full for the first time. The Socialist Party of America was formed in July 1901 at the Congress in Indianapolis as a result of a merger of groups that had broken away from the Socialist Labor Party and the Social Democratic Party in the USA, among whose founders was Eugene Debs, the popular American labor leader. He was one of the founders of the new party. The social composition of the party was motley: native-born and immigrant workers, small farmers, and people with a petty bourgeois background. The centrist and right opportunist leaders of the party, V.L. Berger, Morris Hillquit and others, denied the necessity of the dictatorship of the proletariat, refrained from revolutionary methods of struggle, and confined the party's activities to participation in elections. During World War I, 3 trends formed within the Socialist Party: the social chauvinists, who supported the government's imperialist policy; the centrists, who opposed the imperialist war only in word; and the revolutionary minority, who held an internationalist stand and fought against the war. Led by Charles Ruthenberg, William Foster, Bill Haywood and others, and with the support of proletarian elements, the left wing of the Socialist Party waged a struggle against the opportunist leadership of the party, for the workers' independent political activity, and for the formation of industrial trade unions based on the principles of the class struggle. In 1919 the left wing split away from the SP, initiated the formation of the American Communist Party, and became its core. At present the Socialist Party is a small sectarian organization. The Socialist Labor Party of America was formed in 1876 at a Congress in Philadelphia, as a result of a merger of the American sections of the First International and other socialist organizations. The work of the Congress was guided by F.A. Sorge, an associate of Marx and Engels. Most of the party's members were immigrants who had weak links with the American workers. During the first years its leadership was dominated by Lassalleans, who made mistakes of a sectarian and dogmatic nature. Some of the party's leaders considered parliamentary activity the main party task, and underestimated the significance of party guidance of the economic struggle of the masses, while others fell into trade unionism and anarchism. The ideological and tactical vacillations of its leadership resulted in a number of groups splitting away from the party. Marx and Engels severely criticized the sectarian tactics of American socialists. In the 90s the leadership of the SLP was taken over by its left wing under D. De Leon, who committed anarcho-syndicalist errors. The SLP refused to fight for working-class partial demands, refused to work in the reformist trade unions, and continued losing its ties with the mass working-class movement, weak as they were. During World War I the Socialist Labor Party inclined towards internationalism. Under the influence of the Great October Socialist Revolution, its more revolutionary section actively participated in forming the Communist Party of the USA. At present, the SLP is a small organization without any influence on the U.S. labor movement in the USA from